Live TGIF. It's September 15th and a little bit of a late stream for me from the Pacific Northwest. And today we're going to be jumping in and cycling through several different weapons, sleeper weapons that I know you're sleeping on. Let's go.
Fear not, for you are found. You are home, and there is no going back. No one leaves this place. But what is this place? The answer is Tux Nation. Surrounded by a strong, positive community, Tux Nation lives on the edge of the known and unknown. It is the collection point for all gamers searching to be part of something greater, like you. And here you are significant. You are valuable. Here you are loved. And no one loves you more than the TuxedoBandido. He is the original, the first player one, the creator of the Players Club and the father of the Bandidos. Where once you were Han Solo, now you are part of something. You are part of the Bandidos. Congratulations. You will meet the TuxedoBandido in 5 seconds. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. You are now meeting the TuxedoBandido.
All right, Bandidos, welcome into another build lab. Today, we are going to cycle through some weapons and kind of bring them back into the spotlight. These are weapons that aren't new to the game, but are really good, and I don't see a lot of people running them. Don't see anybody running them. And so let's break them out. And so, by the way, I did pin the last build video to the chat, so hopefully you get a chance to check that out. Welcome in, everybody. Grumpy Squad, Wild, all the newbies, Ghost, Chevy. What up, Chevy? How you doing, bro? What's good? Dragon, I see you. All right, so let me pull some of these weapons into my inventory. I had to take them off another character. So we're gonna be looking at the AK series, the Black Market and the regular AKM. And then we're gonna look at the Glory Days. I showed that one a little bit, but the Manic, which is the named AK. So we'll look at those all together. Also the Rail Splitter, which is built on Perfectly Accurate. That is a Dark Zone or named item cache weapon. And we're also gonna look at the M1928, which I was running for a grip because it's a really good SMG. There's no mods on it, and I think that's why a lot of people sleep on it also, because it's a lower RPM and we all get excited about fast, high IPMs. But this thing, it has an extremely high base weapon damage, and because of its fire rate, it works really good restraint. So I'm going to showcase that one for you too. And then there's a rifle that I pulled over. I want to look at the M62. I'm just not super happy with the one I got, but I think I can get that to work. So let's pull that bad boy in. We'll see if we get around to that one. And then I wanted to look at the MK17. You guys know this rifle? It's really good, like really good when it comes to rifle damage and DPS. So as you guys know, the Baker's Dozen is like the king, right? Pretty much in the game. And so it's way up there. I guess it's before the exotic. And so the 1886 is the higher base damage, but when it comes to DPS outside of one-shot kill, it's not going to do it for you because of its small mag and low RPM. But the Police MK17 is just below the Baker's Dozen, or not the M1A series, I should say. So you got the classics and then the CQBs, and then the Police MK17 is right underneath them. But the mag size on this thing, like, is huge. And that's means you can do, that's the downside of the classics, right? The M1As, is that it kind of gets annoying to be reloading all the time, which is why a lot of people like the Baker's Dozen, because at least you don't have to reload so much. But let's see, plus 20 rounds. I mean, that's 40 rounds in a 241. Let's see what the Baker's is on this build, 450. So over 2 times the mag, and about half the damage. Let's see, 450, 240, less than half the damage. Twice the mags, less than half the damage. So, and then the RPM, right? 180, 275. More importantly than probably all of that is the mods, is that the fact that you get a full set of mods. And you get this cool skin too. Shark bait. Hey, might as well start with this rifle, huh? Okay, so we're here. So let's take off the weapon handling. I'm gonna put on, let's just, I guess, run a crit chance. I like to run scopes on my rifles, but for the moment, let's do crit chance. And then I'll just put this critted out for the moment. Let's see, stability-wise, it's looking good, so I don't think I need to run the Omega Suppressor, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put more crit chance on this. What do I want to do with the build? I guess I'll leave the Fox's Prayers on. This is the Negotiator build we were running on that last build video. But this technically works. Negotiator is actually really good for rifles. I'm trying to figure out if I want to use a gear set or not, or build something from scratch. What do you guys think? Does it matter? Osriel! I haven't seen you in a minute. What up, Ghost Rider? I don't think so, Sci-Fi. That's a good question. The First Descendant. I don't think so. I don't think I have the capacity to cover another game. I mean, I'm going to be covering Starfield pretty regularly. I'm just kind of on the R&D side right now. It's a really good game. And so, crazy stuff I'm stacking up here on that. And then, of course, the Division 2. And then we're going to get even busier here in a couple of weeks with the Division 2 in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Because we're going to get the new season. And then, I got X Defiant around the corner, and I'm really waiting for that one too. Excited. And then next year we have Heartland. So I don't generally just review a lot of random games. It's like, you know what I mean? Like when I reviewed Starfield, you know, when I first looked at Starfield, I wasn't that interested. I was like, oh, space exploration games, spaceships. It was gonna be like Star Trek, and you know. Kind of boring. Star Trek was kind of boring. I don't know if you guys played that game a long time ago, but and so I wasn't that excited. But as I got kind of watched it closely, it got pretty interesting to me. So, but I don't typically just go and review random games. So that one wasn't that random. I was kind of just I had my eye on it for some time, but yeah. So anything Tom Clancy. Ubisoft I will consider. So like I do consider like Assassin's Creed and whatever, and that's because I got a lot of trust with that developer, even though we got a lot of complaints. But I know I like their games, you know what I mean? We were talking about this on the last stream. Like I like Ghost Recon, and we were talking about End War. That dragon reminded me. I was trying to remember that name, Dragon, and you totally remembered. And I've been wondering that for a while. End War was really good. Rainbow Six, and so I've enjoyed all those games so much that I know that I like that series. Battlefield just started to let me down. Call of Duty is all right. I get bored of Call of Duty pretty quick though, I think. I just get tired of getting spammed by random crap. So anyway, so there's that trust factor with the developer and then the titles, right? So. And I know I really like Tom Clancy, not just his movies. I mean, not just his games, but also his movies. Like I love the Tom Clancy series. The Jack Reacher is not Tom Clancy, but I like that kind of concept, you know, that Jack Reacher's kind of not really CIA or anything like that, but he's like this military police guy. Do you ever watch Jack Reacher? There's no game on that, but I'm just saying like, I like that kind of concept, but I like all of Tom Clancy's stuff pretty much. He kind of speaks my language. Do I want to run a Picaros? I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't want to... we need more rifle gear sets. Don't you guys think that? Like, there's nothing for rifles. I mean, because Strikers doesn't help rifles that much. You know what I mean? I mean, you get the weapon handling, the RPM is a waste, and you can't keep up on your stacks. Let's see. Let me look in the stash here, see if something inspires me. You can do Umbra. Umbra works for rifles. We could do no, because it's got the RPM buff too. That would annoy me. I've just found like with rifles, semi-automatic, you know, you're gonna sprain your trigger finger. Just trying to keep up with the RPM boost. I mean, I could create a build from scratch on crits, but that's just kind of, I don't know, that's kind of boring. We could do Hunter's Fury rifle build. That would kind of be interesting. I wonder if we could do a Hunter's Fury headshot rifle build. Let's try that. Let's try that. And see if this rifle has the DPS to make that work. Let me see if I have all those pieces already before I start pulling shit in, you know? You know what I mean? So if we have good DPS and stagger, if we have both those things, so if we stagger on hit, okay, and then we have the DPS to kill that target before he shoots back, and then we stagger the group because he dies, that would be interesting. And of course, headshots and rifles, yay. Right, so we just had a build that was similar, that we ran headshots on into a one-shot kill. Now this rifle's not strong enough to do a one-shot chain kill thing, so I'm not gonna be doing that, but let's try this. So I can run, the cool thing about this is I can actually run the Hunter's Fury chest, which isn't bad. So the chest extends the amplified damage stacks you get by 30 seconds, which is a ton, right? And so, and then that would allow me to run a Cheska backpack, or the Memento, I guess. Did you guys watch the Tom Clancy series? The Ravenous. Oh, Shimmer Sky. I hate the Ravenous, though. What up, K Dottie? Reading your question. Oh, gosh. That's a can of worms. What up, Kool-Aid? If you're in the house. Kool-Aid. Yeah, I think you're right. So a couple of questions here for the community. I think this will be helpful for the entire community here. So Kool-Aid, and then I'll get to you, K Dottie. So Kool-Aid is saying with the new brand set coming in Division 2, since it has explosive resistance, which I love, by the way. I'm a big fan of explosive resistance. There's not on every build, okay? Not just in general on every build, but there are a couple of builds that can really make use of explosive resistance because they already have the damage potential where you're not losing much of it. So sniper builds and skill builds can really take advantage of explosive resistance without losing that I feel powerful feeling. So that's what's really cool about explosive resistance and why I'm excited about it, because there's a couple of builds that I've made in the past that we can bubble up to the surface and make good again. Make better to the next level. So explosive resistance, I believe your cap is at 80% explosive resistance. You can't be 100% immune. So to answer your question, his question is, can we finally make 100% explosive resistant builds without the knee pads? And I think what you're saying is, can we get to 80% without using Sawyers? And yeah, that's what it looks like, right? That's what it looks like. And so for skill builds, that's a good application. For the sniper builds, I wouldn't do that. I would actually go with Sawyers because hold your ground cannot be staggered. That comes with Sawyers is extremely valuable for sniper builds, and you get damage too. And so for skill builds, you know, you might want to run the Memento potentially. So, I mean, this is all legendary content for the most part we're talking about. So, you could also run the Sawyer's knee pads and not be too disappointed because you're getting that total weapon damage probably to your capacitor. But either way, you got a choice. Yeah. So that's a good thing. So K Dottie is new to the division and struggling at getting good at PvP. Yeah, K Dottie, that's a big issue, getting good in PvP. So the problem with PvP is that there's always the metas. And then there's two big problems with the PvP. One is there comes in the meta, and it's, you know, it's one of those things that's always been there in the Division 2, which is like, there's always this build that everybody is running, right? There's a and then from there, you got these really common elements. And that's because there's really not a lot of build diversity in PvP. And, you know, so you see a lot of shields, a lot of assault rifles and SMGs and whatever. But, you know, originally we were talking about this, the Lady Death Adrenaline Rush combo with Intimidate was like really overpowered and overused, and it was the meta in the past. And right now it's the new assault rifle, St. Elmo's, and it's really annoying because if you get shocked, you're done. You're done. You know what I mean? Because they shock and then they shred you, and they got a large mag. So you're done. You know, how do you counter that? You can't. You got to go in there being immune to shock, and then you lose all of your damage to go head to head with anybody else. And so, or even that same guy, right? So because he's not immune to shock and he's still got full DPS, right? And so what ends up happening is you have to accommodate by running the same build. And so it comes down to who's got shock ammo and who puts out the first shot, and that's it. That's it. That's your strategy. My shock ammo must hit him first. That's it. And we're talking without team and all that stuff without team. Once you get a team, then, you know, strategies change. But PvP is really broken in this game, sadly. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news there, but it is. And it always has been. The other thing is skills. What one build counters all skills? There isn't. You know, and you got your explosive builds, and you run into a lot of artillery turret guys. You got the purple oxidizer builds. Yeah, you know, you got just an annoying drone that comes and attacks you from somebody, and that's annoying. So there's all sorts of skill builds out there, status effect builds, riot foam builds. That, you know, how do you protect yourself against that? Well, if you try to go hazard protection, then that's not going to protect you from turrets and drones and, you know, explosives. So then if you try to add explosive resistance, then you're nothing anymore. You have no damage. You already have no damage with hazard protection. So, yeah, you know, it's just a shitty place. Oh, we don't need crits. What am I doing there? Or do we? No crits, right? Yeah, I need a better chest piece then. I can re-roll that. Okay. Let me just put the memento for easiness, so I don't have to think about it too much. And then I'll change his chest. Yeah, that's the problem. And so I think when I'm talking about the problem, it's the skills. So at the end of the day, whatever the meta is, you know, shock and status effects it is what it is. But when you start throwing in all the skills that bring all their things, like hazards and damage, you have too much to counter and too many people to counter. So you go in there and you realize, oh shit, I need to be hazard protected because this guy's got shock. And so you build a bunch of shock immunity. And then somebody comes and riot foams you and you realize you're not immune to that, and then you're dead. Or you get hit with some explosions and, you know, and then you realize you're not prepared for that, and so you're dead again. And so it's just like, and then you switch your build because that's who you're up against at that moment, and then somebody else comes along with a different build that you got to counter. There's just too much. And so my biggest thing, and I'm not sure if the community would like to hear this, but I would like to say that we need to remove skills from the Dark Zone. I just don't think there's skills. That would at least cut down on like 80% of the bullshit that you deal with in there. Wait, specialization. I'm going to go with... well, firewall or sharpshooter. Sharpshooter would give us more damage. Firewall would too, but this gives us more stability too. Let's start with this. Yeah, there's a weakness in every build. And the problem is that there's too much variety of what you're gonna come against, right? So, you know, and then we don't have things. So then you could be like, well, so just outplay them. That's a fair thing to say. But we don't have the moves in the Division 2. So you see people doing the chicken dance. That's as good as it freaking gets. I don't know if you've seen the chicken dance, but it's mostly a PC thing. But they basically do this with their cameras so that you miss a lot of shots. And then they wiggle their way up to you. And then they have a little bit of I mean, it's especially effective if they have enough regen to take whatever damage you do land so that when they get to you, usually Adrenaline Rush is good for that because then by the time they get to you, they get the bonus armor. And it's like having full armor. We don't have the moves like in a lot of other games. In other games, let's just say Call of Duty or X Defiant. And so like where you can slide around corners, you can go prone, you know, you can even jump. We don't have any moves in the Division 2. You are strapped to the ground. Like the gravitational pull is amazing on this planet. So that's kind of what's annoying, and I think that's why you see a lot of people. And granted, like I don't like the bunny hopping too much in these other games either, but tactical slides is pretty damn tactical. You know what I mean? So like a tactical slide, if you're not familiar with those other games, like going around this corner, but usually what they do is they jump. And so they don't just run around a corner because they know there's somebody could be waiting there. So if they just run, then you get shot, right? But if you jump around a corner, like you jump and then like glide through the air and land, then if there is somebody there, they're gonna miss the majority of their shots and not hit a critical hitbox. So it's and then you have the advantage because maybe a height advantage and you just start laying in on their head or whatever. But either way, you miss some shots. Or you slide through corners, slide and shoot as you're sliding. And so we don't have any of that stuff. And then there's the belly flops, like when you got two people in front of them. And some of that stuff is really annoying, right? I agree. But the point is that there's moves. You know, there's moves. And in this game, we don't have those moves, you know, at all. You know, like any of them. Not even, I mean, we can't jump, we can't go prone, we can't do anything. We just have the cover system. So it's either play from range or go toe to toe. And what ends up happening is the toe to toe situation, right? Because inevitably, when you're playing at range against somebody, they're trying to flank you, and that's what they're doing. So one guy's distracting you, two guys are flanking you, and you're down, you know? So you end up being in a toe to toe situation, even if you're playing from distance. That's, you know, so you just end up being there. And how do you counter that? You know, by putting on a toe to toe type build. So, you know, a shield basically, unbreakable, and all this kind of crap. Adrenaline rush, close distance stuff. And then most of that stuff, now that you dedicated almost your entire build to playing in close quarter combat, your range strategy just sort of went down the toilet. I mean, you wasted it to be able to handle that close quarter combat. Yeah, all because we don't have moves. You know. Oh, I feel like I need a scope on that. Let me get closer to this guy. Let me see what happens. Yeah, powerful, but a lot of missed shots. Let me fix my mods. That's what it is. Hold on a second. I have crit mods. I forgot to change those. So really powerful, a lot of missed shots for now. Okay, so let's put back on the Omega. That'll help with stability. So we need to stop that bounce. And then I can go over stability there. And then up here, we need some sort of scope. Let's start with the ACOG. I don't need optimal range, but just for view. Oh, wait, that's There it is. All right, fire. Haven't used the ACOG in a while. I don't like clicking for my scopes. It's like a waste of time. Yeah. Let me fix that. Okay. Start with the 8X. Yeah, it's better. Oh, that's so bullshit, right? You saw that. How she jumped and then didn't. Oh. You know how to piss me off. Yeah, I don't know. That time to kill is kind of hurting me. It's not so much the time to kill, but it's this. She doesn't get staggered. Let me just kill myself. They're taking forever to get here. Yeah, so I think when it comes to like division PvP, what I'm amazed that there are people that play it full time. I'm amazed by that. So obviously it's subjective on whether it's crap or not, but the funny thing is the people that play it full time also don't like it, and that's even more confusing. You know, I don't get it. Okay, there we go. Hitting at 1,073,000. Simpson. Oh, I know what's going on here. I need to switch controllers. I'm not using my regular controller. I use a different controller for Starfield. It's like, why does it feel a little sloppy? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right, all right. Let me turn this off. Hold on. Bruce! All right, it's gonna feel alien here for a second. Oh yeah, the trigger feels way better. I got that shortened trigger. This feels better. I mean, really, you know, you'd be better moving. It's okay to move and stuff like that, but I think you're better, like, not necessarily stand behind a shield and playing with this one. Because it's like a 3-4 shot rifle, right? Basically, twice as many shots as the M1As. So, I mean, you're probably better served playing behind cover because you make use out of more of those shots. Less misses. So after running that, oh yeah, that feels good right there. See how you got staggered? After running that M1A build that we made a couple last week, that build is sick. Oh, get right from him, damn you. Jesus. I mean, I guess if we got rid of the Fox's prayers and made use of our chest piece, that would up our damage a lot. Potentially. Have to think about that. Yeah, so for PvP for the Division 2, I feel like you're better off like waiting for Heartland and shit like that. But yeah, it's amazing that there's people that play this and cover it too full time on PvP, and that's all they do.
Incoming hostiles detected.
Really? Really? Wow. Fucking lady. Come on, climb. Fucking can't climb. I don't remember which one's climb. Is it Y? They're doing a good job flanking me, these two. Huh? See how she can go prone, but we can't, you know? That's just weird. If they can do it, we should be able to do it. Is that? I wonder why they didn't let us go. So simple. It's so simple to go prone, you know, and realistic for a military-esque game, right? I mean, it's a basic combat move to go prone, isn't it? It can't all be about cover, because, like, I'm in cover right now, and there's tall cover and short cover, and that's how you go prone, right? And so, but if I'm behind tall cover and I want to go prone, I should have the choice to do that. Because she's really annoying me. I've been fighting her forever. Look how fast she's running. Look at that. Look at that's funny to me. I mean, she's running sideways and she was going so fast. The enemies in the Division 2 are so overpowered, it's crazy, right? If you think about everything that you just saw from that one lady, you know, that one character, NPC, is like, she can go prone, she can dive. We can't dive. She can go prone and she can dive. There's two moves she's already have that we don't, right? And then she can cancel her dive mid-dive before she hits the ground, which is more of a glitch than anything, but it's there either way. Oh, what talent do I got on this? Oh, I didn't realize it had determined. Well, that's a big fucking mistake. There's some damage we're missing right there. All right, let's fix some shit.
Signing backup request.
All right. We need to fix some stuff. We got the castle right there. Ah, which one is...
Identified.
What's this climb? Is it B? Yeah, it is B. I got it. Dev Primal? Yeah, so I just feel like, you know, the devs... Well, I don't understand why they picked that we couldn't do that. I mean... Then they shouldn't be able to do it. You know? I mean, and then they got high armor, right? Crazy armor. And then they hit harder than you do, basically. NPCs. Okay, so we need to fix our weapon damage. That's a big chunk there that we're missing. Because I have determined that we're not running a headhunter thing. So let's see. Recoil rifle. This guy. So you got some options here. Optimist. You also have rifleman, which could be good. I'm cool with starting with rifleman, actually. I like that talent. 10% weapon damage for 5 seconds and it's stackable. All right, and then I'm thinking about putting on a different chest. Maybe. At least I want the option. Take the knees and then we can run an overlord or pristine example. Spotter could also work for this, but then we'd have to change our specialization, which would be okay because we are running Hunter's Fury that gives us enough armor on kill that our specialization could be really whatever. Seeing if I have one that matches my setup. Oh, it's crit based. We could run crits. I lose a lot of slots by doing that, and we don't have crit chance on the rifle. It's got crit damage though. I'm gonna have that overlord one. That's kind of the closest thing. We could just go regular focus or spotter or whatever. Not perfect. Let's put that on for now. And let's put those knees on. Let's just try this, see if we like it. I'll put some headshot damage here. All right, our stats right here. Headshot, headshot, headshot. All right, this should feel a lot better. Now, we'll change that talent. I'm gonna start with focus, but we could also do
Location guarded by hostiles.
spotter. Because I think this thing takes the laser pointer. Rifles are so limited. That's what I was hoping from season 11 on setups, you know. I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they gave us hot shot for rifles too. They could use, you know, they could use a little bit of handling and auto refill on their small mags, you know. I wouldn't complain about that. All right, this should be a dramatic change here now. I was missing a couple of things. Pretty drastic, actually. I got distracted. I was talking and we started talking PvP and I didn't finish out the build. I'm a one-track minded guy, apparently. Look at his shotgun. That's an M870 shotgun. And it must have like an extended barrel and... All right. They're not gonna come out. Where'd that other guy go? Taking damage from him? But I can't see him.
Hostiles guarding.
Alright. Getting juiced up here. Feeling a little bit better. You can tell from the get-go. That fucking grenade. Get out of here. Oh, here comes another one. Let's see. Luckily, I moved an inch.
Heavily armored hostile detected. Detecting additional hostile contacts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we need a reapplication of aces and eights, huh? We'll see how Tip of Spear comes out with their change there. I don't feel like it's needed. I mean, it doesn't make it more exciting. It's just a change, you know? And I mean, it doesn't make me want to use the minigun more or the crossbow more. Anybody else feeling like that? Or, you know what I mean? It's a change, but it doesn't seem to like draw me in. There's a little more of this, a little less of that. And it's like, yeah, more inconveniences overall though. That's kind of my take on it. The fact that you gotta get a kill with it. So we'll see. I mean, but I think it might still be workable just from an outside in look for the TAC 15. That's its most useful application for me, I feel like. So if that's not broken, then I'm okay with it. We might have to get a kill. But no matter what, I look at it from a shots fired perspective, and the TAC 50 always required 2 shots with tip of spear. Come on, dude. Sometimes, you know, I have a yeah, shots fired. It's always took 2 shots. And from with the without the buff on the new tip of spear setup, it's gonna take 2 shots too, because you don't get your buff until you get a kill. So I think we'll be okay. I think it'll play out the same. Anyways, rifles. You know, just kind of. It's been a while since I've used a rifle of this class. And so some things are, it's reminding me of some of my original thoughts. These big mags rifles are kind of a necessary, you know? For one, like, you should have the firepower to not need the full mag. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, that's cool. Then you can kill multiple targets inside that mag. Yeah, but the reality is that tactically you're gonna reload anyways. You know, you're just constantly reloading. You're reloading enough where that large mag on a rifle isn't that impactful. There's like a balance, right? I'm not saying I don't want a bigger mag, but like imagine the M1A Classic with like 40 rounds. I mean, don't we all want that? We do. But the reality is that we don't need it. We need more rounds. I agree with that, but not 40, you know? Because you're gonna reload anyways. You're just gonna reload anyways. And for assault rifles, it's a little bit different because, well, especially those ones with the large mag, you tend to need the entire mag on a single target or 2. But you also got quite a few missed shots, and you're just burning through that mag by holding down your trigger, basically, because of their automatic feature, which is leading you to those missed shots. And so my point is, like, you have an option with these rifles, and we'll take it right now, to take off that extended mag and reallocate it to something else, like handling or power or something like that. So you can do 10 rounds and not increase your reload speed. You could go faster reload speed. 20% stability is kind of nice. Let's try that. See how that feels. Basically shots on target. As soon as you're done with they're doing the circus acts, they'll start shooting again, okay? But when they're doing all those goddamn cartwheels, I'm demotivated to pull my trigger. Oh, wow. Great accuracy coming from the backfield. You know what I mean? Those guys way out there. I mean, behind cover taking bullets. That's a shotgun hitting me right there. Look at that. Look at that. And look at that. Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy, guys. I know, that's trolling. That's trolling right there. He's not shooting at me right now, but he was a second ago. He's trolling because that's messed up to be able to hit me, snipe me. That's a sniper's nest. And his MH70 shotgun was sniping me. And then if it wasn't his shotgun, it was his turret that's basically 2 checkpoints away, 2 control points away, tagging me. All right, let's get rid of these guys. This medic got everybody up in that whole time, that time that we were there. Look at that. That's that turret hitting me right there. I mean, now it's the boss, but that turret is incredible. Incredible. I need one of those. I'm gonna mount it on my rooftop. Nah, you don't want to come out. See, I can't shoot you. That turret is amazing. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Somebody give that guy a raise, whoever's controlling that thing. Pay raise. Promote that guy to turret specialist. Look at that, I'm still taking damage from that fucking turret. I mean, I don't want to kill it because I'm impressed by it. We're a long ways before the devs touching anything related to that kind of stuff. I mean, when's the last time you heard the devs talk about NPC rebalancing? Oh my gosh, years. It's been years. And so they don't have the resources. Yeah, that's a turret right there. Pretty impressive. It never has to reload either, which is pretty cool. Oh, look, another medic. Out of ammo. Look at that. So much easier. Switch guns. So, you know, I was thinking about the new gear set that we have coming in here. And, you know, it's pretty creative, right? Pretty creative. Got some things coming in about it that we've never seen before, which is the alteration of a skill by a gear set. And so that's kind of interesting, right? But part of me also thinks that I think we could use a refresher on some fundamental gear sets. And what I mean by that is like kind of like not a negotiators, but a kind of like a striker-esque version. Not necessarily have to be about damage per se, but I think we need gear sets that go with that are tailored to how people want to play, not necessarily how the devs want us to play. Does that make sense? You know, it's always good for the developer to try to steer the community to get the best features out of any game, right? To enjoy the best part of the game. And so the devs sort of take a risk at developing what that is and knowing what that is, right? It's kind of an educated guess, and then they eventually get feedback on it, and then they confirm it, or they shift, and what ends up being the best part of the game, or they completely bomb it. And so, you know, and the devs are looking at, you know, some of the things that we love, which is creative builds. I love that. I'm probably one of the biggest fans of it, right? And also hybrids, and that's what that concept is too. It's a hybrid, right, of sorts, sort of. But my point is that our fundamental build sets, like Tip of Spear, like Negotiators and Strikers, are dated. They're really dated, you know what I mean? So where you kind of like, you're running in, like we just kind of come against it. We feel like we don't really have any options. And then your alternates are, you know, basically this Firecrest gear set that just has nothing to do with the way I want to run, which might be my assault rifle, which, by the way, let's switch out because this rifle's boring me. So, you know what I mean? And so we don't have an option. And so it's just sort of like, oh, okay, so I guess let's just go Striker because it's the strongest and it's linear. You know what I mean? And that's the good part about Striker. That is, I feel like, its strongest suit. It's not so much its damage. It's just that's all it does is damage. It's not the amount of damage. It's just that's all it does is damage. Does that make sense? So it doesn't have all these other complications. You know, like even Hunter's Fury has its complications, which is, yeah, it's 15 meters. That's you got to play inside or you're not getting a lot of your damage, right? So, or the status effects. And then Heartbreaker is close, but it requires the pulse. And so then you have to integrate that, you know, but it's close. It's relatively linear. It is shoot. All you got to do is shoot your gun and you basically get your stacks, right? Because it doesn't require crits. It just requires hits. And you're getting bonus armor and damage. And so that's relatively linear. I wish it didn't have the pulse, but fine. And so I feel like, you know, they started coming out with things like Umbra, and then things sort of are getting convoluted and kind of confusing in the gear set category, where there's so many details and whatever related to it, in and cover and out of cover and stack this and destack that and buff. Like Cavalier is the same way, right? I mean, Cavalier is just like, Jesus, you know, the timer on this and then the timer on that, you know, it's just like, and then you're immune and then you're not immune. It's just like, Jesus, linear, man, linear. And how do you be creative and linear? You know, I don't know. I have the answers to that, but having a linear gear set like Striker still allows us to be creative because it brings so much of something that you can pull off that something to bring in your creativity, some of that something, right? And damage. So Strikers brings in so much damage that allows you to be creative because you don't have to worry about the damage part anymore. So then you can come in with, you know, this SMG and this talent, maybe with preservation, and run the memento and put all skill tiers, whatever you want, because you know your base damage is there. So you can now move on to the other elements to make your creative or hybrid. Or you could just go all linear, go all armor, on your striker or go all red on your striker. You know what I mean? So because it's good at just one thing, it makes it applicable for lots of different builds. Striker is like one of the most versatile gear sets out there, actually, because of that. You know, so I mean, my striker, you guys know the striker hybrid skill build is amazing, and I got striker tank builds that are absolutely amazing too. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of good stuff with striker. That's really the formula, and it went through several cycles to get there. So strikers was one of the most unused gear sets in the game when it was launched. And then they improved it, and it was like, you know, got okay. And then they improved it again. I mean, would it go through like 4 cycles before they finally got it right? I can't remember exactly, but at least 3. And, you know, then they finally got it right. But I'm gonna switch out here. So I feel like, you know, Firecrest looks fun, and I love themes and I love creativity, and I'm excited for it. And it's not called Firecrest, it's called something else, but we'll start memorizing the names when they actually launch it. But why? You know what I mean? Well, why? Well, and as part of this is kind of going, like, I'm aligned with what the developers are doing right now, simplifying the game, and we're not going to see a lot of those efforts until season 4. And so, but simplifying the game, right, by using gear sets more than individual brand pieces, which is what we used to always have. So when we started this game, we were only running brand stuff, right? And then they introduced gear sets and started leaning more into that. But And that made it simple for people to build, because you just have to, you have less choices. It decomplicates things. And so, so that's great. And then, they're going to change up the specialization system. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, but that is coming with season 4. And then the exotics, I don't know. The exotics seem to be more specialized instead of generalist. For the most part. So, you were never going to see another Memento again, in other words. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if that makes things simple or not, but whatever. So, here comes this Firecrest thing, and it's just like, okay, so if we're trying to attract and continue to attract more new players into the game, I'm not sure this Firecrest, sorry if I'm calling it Firecrest, but that's just what I'm going to do. So this Firecrest gear set is, I'm not sure the right move. It's complicated, and we steer away from complicated things. Like, there's so many people that don't use certain elements in this game because just reading it just throws you off. It's confusing, and it's long, and it's just like, what? And not that one's super confusing. It's not, but it's not the way people necessarily want to play if they're a new player, right? I think a lot of new players, I'm just going to go out there and make an educated guess here a little bit, that they pick up an assault rifle, and then they also eventually learn. And that's where we guide them too, like, right? Go into a striker build, go into a heartbreaker build. I mean, ask any content creator as a new player what should you run, and you will get the same answers. And if you don't get those answers, I'm curious. But the other one that you eventually learn, and is also a recommendation, is a skill build, right? A standard skill build, not a crazy professional fire skill build. But like when somebody's new to the game and they say, hey, I'm new to the game, I want to survive, I want to take on more heroic and legendary content, what build would you recommend? I'd be like, well, you got your standard assault rifle builds, and I would do Heartbreaker or Striker. And then if you really need assistance, then look at any of these skill builds with the turret and the drone, because they pull off so much aggro that you can, practice staying out of cover and taking on critical targets and taking less damage, right? And so that's better. Better. But it's simple. Skill builds are really linear. On the surface, they look complicated, but the reality is point and shoot. So for this AK, I'm gonna go ahead and run So we're gonna look at the AKM. So the AK is way up there for DPS and assault rifles. It's up there with the TKB, and the TKB's got a little bit faster RPM. So that's the biggest difference. So this AK's got one less mod, but a little bit more damage. And then the black market AK has got an additional mod. So, you know, which one do you want to use? If you're gonna run spotter, probably the black market, actually. Maybe I want to do that one. It doesn't really matter. So it's up to you, but let's go to the black market, because I don't think the regular AK can. Am I right there? You can't do the mod here, right? Oh, no, maybe you can. Nope, you can't. So they don't consider that long barrel. Let's see if they do the black market one. Am I right there? Yeah, you can. So yeah, that's the biggest difference right there. So mod selection, basically. And so with this assault rifle, yes, I'm absolutely going to run the optimal or the stability for the on the Omega suppressor. You do, because this one does have a rise, and that's the biggest concern of these assault rifles. But I'm going to tell you why they're damn good. You know what I mean? But give me a second there, because I'm going to finish this conversation. And so yeah, so I think the devs just, you know, we're beyond it on this season. They've probably already started working on next season shit too, by the way. But I think that's what they need. Like, that's just going against the grain when it comes to inviting more new players or catering to the new player department. I think that we need to make things more linear, you know, and still be exciting. I feel like we should be able to do that and still make things exciting, you know. Like a simple way to make it exciting and be linear is like Negotiator's Dilemma, right? What does it provide? Crits. And what do you get on kill? More crits. You know, and what's the exciting part? You can kill 3 characters at once. That's the level of uniqueness we need in this game. And I mean, for me, like, I want to go over the shoot for the moon when it comes to uniqueness, but the reality is that we need that. Well, that's that special thing. You know, that's that special thing. Now, Strikers doesn't have that special thing. It is even more linear than it's more straightforward than anything in this game, which is also good for all the reasons I explained earlier. But that's that special thing. What's Heartbreaker's special thing? It's bonus armor. And then Hunter's Fury isn't linear at all, right? Hunter's Fury is a memento hybrid of gear pieces, but I'm not saying it's not good, but it's got all this other, it's got these it's way more complicated if you think about it, right? And then Umbra is, well, I don't know what's going on with this loading screen, but damn, the game just bug out on me. Umbra is just confusing. I mean, I get it. I've been using it for a while. Most of you probably understand it by now, but you know, it's pretty confusing for a new player. What up, Ambrosia? I thought I'd seen you before, Ambrosia Grace. I recognize your name for some reason. I don't know why. The Hollow Man mask. Yeah, actually, I got a really good skill build for the Hollow Man mask, Kamerska. Sorry for just getting to your question here. The Hollow Man mask, the build is called Slaughter. I got a few Hollow Man mask builds, but that's one of them. I recently came up with another one. This is bugging out. Let me close it up. Hold on, my controller's also bugging out. Sorry, my buttons are sticky. That's why I've been switching controllers here. Hold on, let me change my profile. Fucking controller. There we go. Nope. Still loading? Wow. All right, game. Let's try you again. I mean, all of it too. I mean, beyond the gear set. I mean, like, do we want to be? I mean, just realistically, like, is it a smart decision to be promoting grenade tossing for new players? You know, I'm talking about the exotic chess piece as an example, right? And again, this goes back to the developers leading the players to the best parts of the game. Are the grenades the best parts of the game? Does it have its application? Will it be fun to throw out those fire grenades? Absolutely. So, but is that the best part of the game? Is Mad Bomber the best part of the game? You know, and so that's what I'm saying. So all this stuff is great, but it doesn't really align with the main objective here. You know, and to be honest with you, and what we would like to enjoy too, but I mean, even as a veteran player, I would like, you know, stuff that's not so niche, a little bit more, you know, I mean, I like builds that I can, you know, hone in on and make highly focused, don't get me wrong, but, you know, a fire turret only build or a grenade only build, or two. The problem is that adds, the biggest problem to it is, I mean, maybe if we had unlimited stash space, right? But that's our problem, and that's why it's unacceptable to me. It's not because I don't like it, and I wouldn't enjoy it, and I don't have a few builds in mind for it. But the problem is that we don't have the stash space for something that's only going to have one build and I'm going to use for fun every now and again. You know? Okay, got it. So, you know, so that's just what I'm saying. You know, that's feedback for the devs, and I hope they get that shit in gear. But we're probably, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like their left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing over there. You know. Okay, so let's pivot over here to the this thing, AK. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what we wanted to do? Oh, that's kind of a challenge, huh? Well, I guess I have the memento. Let's keep that. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to technician. Actually, let's go technician instead, and just rely on the memento for our healing. I like doing that. So technician and assault rifles, okay, and then I got heals over here. And so we're doing this because we want this laser pointer. I want to go spotter. So we have lots of options. We could obviously use obliterate and stuff like that, but spotter is nice. Why is it? What's going on with this screen here? Every time I do this, do you think it's just this station? Maybe this station's glitched. Oh my god. I don't get why this is doing that. I think it must just be, I bet it's just this station. Because every time I exit out, it goes into this weird, it's not even a normal loading screen. That's not a normal loading screen. Oh, I'm so annoyed right now. The funny thing is, it did probably change the specialization. That's the good part about that. At least it went through. The Achilles pulse is none of those, Kool-Aid. That's a good question, though. The Achilles pulse is not a status effect. And so I think the only way you could increase it is basically overcharge. Skill tier is an overcharge. Yeah, it's kind of a unique one. Yeah, but it's like any of the other pulses, basically. So you could probably increase its duration by putting duration mods, maybe. I don't know about that, but yeah, well, most people run it though. I gotta say, Kool-Aid. I'm not a big Achilles fan, so I'm probably, I'm definitely not an expert in the Achilles department. I'll tell you, and it's always kind of disappointed me, and I think that's mainly why. But okay, so okay, yeah, so it worked. Okay, good. So we don't have to go through that hassle again. Let's avoid that station for now. So yeah, it's pretty good, but the best applications I've seen have always been overcharge, and even then it's not perfect, but it greatly increases the chances of you getting what you're actually looking for, which is that one-shot kill at amazing levels. So here we're gonna put crit chance, and so I don't want to use a scope on this just to give you guys a break. I love scopes. I would totally throw a scope on this, and I keep encouraging you guys to like scopes, but I know a lot of people don't run scopes, so I'll give you guys a break. Enduring skin, cool. We could use that. That's a beast-looking weapon, right? All right. And then let's look at our crit chance real quick. So we need a little bit more of that. And then the chest piece is put on our closer chest piece. There we go. Perfect spotter. And then you can run yours with an armor core if you like. So 39, 93. Okay, so we still need to shift some crits. What do we got here? This is a crit chance. That should probably be good. Yeah, 45, 93, good. So balanced crits, right? Because I don't have enough crit damage to go all into crit chance, and none of my skills. Oh wait, actually, I think we need to change this. Killer requires crits, which is okay. But if I decided to go that route, then I would want to max out my crit chance to 60. And so when you're running a low crit scenario, which Striker technically puts you in, you know what I mean? So, but we could run strained. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and max out our crits if I have the ability to even do that. Crit damage, so I can change some of these. I only got one to change. Let's see if I can do that. And that's because I'm running that mod. Two of my mods on my weapons are lost, right? So, not lost, but they're not going towards crits. But if I run strained on this weapon, it's a good use case, do I have better striker knees? If I can find another striker knee that I could put crit chance on, we're good to go. But strained is good on this. There we go. Perfect. I'm full. Because of its low rate of fire, and so you just really get the most out of that talent. And again, easy. Pull the trigger, shoot. And that alone is really good alignment with Striker, because that's what Striker's asking for you. So from you, and all of these talents that we got on this build are perfect, and that makes this a really good build for a lot of the player base, because it's not complicated. It's not complicated, and not complicated to use, not complicated to understand, not complicated, So let's swap this out to crit chance. And that just tends to make your performance better too. Somehow impacts your performance, right? And you end up doing a lot better. So it's the chest piece talent is perfect spotter, 20% amp. All you got to do is point and shoot. And we got the laser pointer that makes it easy. And then I'm going to change this to strained now. And that's going to be point and shoot also. And it's going to, by doing that, we're going to get more crit. So let's see here. Strained. So 10%, 50 for 0.5 seconds. For every 0.5 seconds, stacks 5. So it's 50% crit damage by just squeezing that trigger. All right, and then the backpack's a memento, so, you know, we pick up our trophies. Not much to think about other than that. But the memento is confusing. Like, if you're a new player, and it's been around for a while, so we're all accustomed to it. But if you're a new player, it's like, wait, what's going on here? Right? Short-term buffs, 5% weapon damage. Cool. No, it's 5x5 on top of 30. You know, so it's pretty confusing. You know, it's one of those. You got short-term buffs, you got long-term buffs. They last for different times, you know? Again, it's amazing and we're all accustomed to it, but the reality is I think this is more straightforward the better. At this stage of the game. But not too much, right? Because like the Sacred Imperium, that's complicated. So, and that's sitting in the dumpsters. The, you know what's a good one that's simple and good is basically the St. Elmo's, right? Point, shoot, you get stacks, you get ammo, right? Nothing you need to do there. There's nothing you need to do. The only thing complicated about it is if you switch weapons, you lose your stacks. That's the only complicated part. And I mean complicated because it's a detail that not everybody realizes, but it's not that big of a deal. Thanks for that pulse, man. That I can't see, apparently. Damn good toss, huh? Damn, you're making me miss a lot of shots. All because you can walk sideways. Also because I'm using a different controller and it's gonna mess with me a little bit. A good skater can skate in anything. Ugh. Okay, we're done with this control point apparently. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, the classified, the Muffin Man, the classified assignments comes up a lot. Actually, the people talk about it a lot. You know, some elements of it, classified builds, classified gear. You know. What are the devs up to, right? What are the devs up to? And we don't know. It's sort of all a mystery. We have bits and pieces, but the reality is it's a big mystery. And it's all going to be revealed in that DLC, right? That's the big, what are they up to? You know, everything that's happening between now and then is just basically minimum viable product, basically, you know? And so they're just getting us enough to keep the game going, keep us minimally happy, satisfied. But And it's not because they're abandoning the game, but I believe that they don't want to make any introductions that's going to conflict with the last season coming here of this year, season 5. Season 4 of year 5, you know. So and so I think that all their efforts are really bottled up into that. And so they're just giving us, that feels really good. That feels really good. So even for me using a controller that I don't normally use here, that's pretty damn good. So one of the biggest oh God, really? God damn, I can't get out. I'm fucking screwed. Jesus Christ. They meleeed me to death. Double melees, bullshit. So the AK, one of the reasons why people stray away from it is because they feel like it's got really bad handling. It sort of doesn't. You know, I'm probably not demonstrating it very well because I'm not using my normal controller, but it actually sort of doesn't. Now, I'm saying that from somebody who didn't use it because I felt like it had bad handling. Now, it does have an aggressive rise enough to where I feel like I'm better off running that Omega suppressor. But I also feel that you should pretty much run the Omega suppressor on every assault rifle. I do feel like that. It is a win on every assault rifle. And I believe that the St. Elmo's is a really good demonstration of that fact. So the St. Elmo's has a 20% weapon handling mod, and it's basically like the Omega suppressor in the form of stability, limited to stability, which is what was really amazing about that, right? And so, and my point is that the Police M4 or the is already a stable weapon. So the fact that they gave a 20% stability on a weapon that's already good on the handling department, it's kind of a testament that even the weapons you feel like are good still make good use out of 20% stability, which is inside the weapon handling. So weapon handling has got stability, reload, accuracy, weapon swap. Anyways, so I'm not just running it for the AK, but I do feel like the AK definitely benefits more than many other weapons from this stability. And that's because it does have an aggressive rise. But the reason why it's so good and why I say that it does, sort of doesn't have handling issues is because the rise is really linear. And if you look at the police and the... Give me that weak point. Did I already blow it? The reason why... it may even be better when it comes to the fire pattern, the recoil pattern, than your like FAMAS or your regular police M4. Is those have kind of a zigzag fire pattern, which means you're actually, it's harder to control because you have to counter the lateral and vertical movements. And this, for the most part, has a vertical movement. And with some lateral, there's still some lateral, but it's a gentle, kind of like a gentle slope to one side. And I think the reason why some people might feel like it's got bad handling is because most assault rifles pull to the right, and I believe the AK and the TKB pull to the left. I think it's a Russian thing. So let me see here. Yeah, see, that's a pull to the left, but really linear. And that makes it really easy to control. Now let me switch to the FAMAS. Okay, so I got a scope on this one. Pulls to the right. That looked pretty linear too though, but now it's got weapon handling on it. But yeah, so that opposite of what you're used to. So if you're running a police M4 all the time and you're used to countering its up, so the police M4 goes like this, it goes like this. Like little Z pattern, tighter than that, of course. And so you're used to countering that on your Police M4, and when you pull in the AK and the AK is going the opposite way, that makes you feel like it's got a bad recoil pattern. But the reality is you're just not accustomed to it. And I felt like that myself, that with the AK and the TKBs, I used to think like, oh, I hate these guns, you know? They perform like crap. It's great you get all that damage, but you're missing all your shots. And that's true. That statement's true. If you miss all your shots, it's, you know, who cares about your damage? But the reality is, I spent some time with the TKB when the Kingbreaker come out. I ended up using it like as basically my exclusive assault rifle for an entire season on my assault rifle builds, because I ended up getting accustomed to it and ended up realizing how good it is. And once you get accustomed to its pattern, and then you start to realize like, oh wow, you know what? It's actually got a really good recoil pattern. It's relatively linear, easy enough to adjust to. Also, the low RPM is a big deal. And so we've been talking about this because some of the weapons I've been showcasing in the meta break builds are these lower RPM ones, right? So we saw the invisible hand, and then we saw the ACRE, which are both lower RPM type weapons in the 700 categories. And so the slower the weapon, that means the more chance you have to gain control of it, to adapt to the recoil, I should say, control your weapon before you run out of bullets. And so the faster the weapon, by the time you adapt to its recoil, a good 30% of your mag is gone. Yeah, isn't it funny how like common of a strategy it is for the NPCs to do that sideways walk while they're shooting? See that? Obviously there's a car behind him, but really? I hate our medkits in this game. They're so bad. That's my counter to that statement. So, and why I create the builds that I create. Like, so I got a lot of balanced builds throughout my history of building in the Division 2. And what I mean by that is like basically optimal time to kill and then optimal time to heal through bonus armor, regen, armor on kill, that kind of shit, right? And some people are just say, you know, there's a statement you see out there from time to time where people will just say, oh, you know, I just run an all red build and put on the Banshee pulse with the reviver, you know. No additional survivability. Basically, is the claim there. That additional survivability. The claim is that additional survivability in the game, or any survivability really, is, look at that. Look at that at range, huh? It's pretty cool. And with the scope would be even better. Is that additional survivability is just a waste and isn't useful. And so these are probably for the people that play behind cover, and I just see this comment from time to time. They play from behind cover an all red build and pretend they never take damage. But what they're relying on really is they do take damage. They're just relying on their medkits, right? But that's my thing to the medkit. The medkit gets me killed more than anything, you know? So I take damage and be like, oh, it's probably a good time to heal, you know? And then I get killed because I'm healing because it's so slow, you know? This gun's great. Feels good. I'm liking it. And if we integrate the shotgun into this, which you can do, Let's do that without losing any issues, because we're not running kill or anything like that, so we can stack with the shotgun, get full up. All right, so we're full up basically. And then from here we can just maintain. Look at that turret nailing on me. They're really on a number today, aren't they? $1 million right there. And of course, if you run focus, you can pull that up. That turret is wailing on me. That's a second control point in a row, right? It's complete BS. I mean, I'm so far away from that turret that, I mean, I would feel comfortable with a bullet or two hitting me from time to time at that distance, but I mean, it's not a laser. You know what I mean? It's a ballistic based turret. It's just, you know, wow, right? It's chick, 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 chick. I mean, it sounds like a 45 caliber, right? Anyways, I just doubt it's that accurate. I don't care what kind of SHD tech they have adopted on it. Just no way, you know? So, okay, really impressed with it, regardless of the annoying NPCs. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a scope for my sake, but I know I'm not gonna change anything else on the build. But I know that with that 30% headshot damage, we're gonna rock it. Now that does pull for my crits a little bit, but that's okay. But I want that range on my side, right? I want more shots at range on my side is a better way to put it. So think about it on approach, okay? So all that damage you can put out on approach is a big deal, so that by the time you actually get to the enemy inside 15 meters, then they're either dead or almost dead, you know? And so you can do that, of course, without a scope, but with a scope, you can land more critical shots on that target and maybe even start firing from an even deeper position than when you normally would without a scope. You think the 20 millimeter? Chuk, 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 chuk. Yeah, the AK is a pleaser. And so, like, if you've tried the TKB and the AK and, you know, you said, oh, they're not for me, they're, you know, it's like trying to control, you know, a bucking donkey or something like that, or a bronco. It is, but you can easily adapt to it, probably more than the FAMAS. And so what I would encourage is to spend more time with them, because especially the TKB could very well be your favorite weapon in the game once you get accustomed to what it can do. Its recoil. And so, I mean, the AK was like that for a minute for me. I mean, I always get that question, what's your favorite AK? I don't know if I have a good answer anymore. But look at that. Good stagger. But the Kingbreaker is up there. So the AK and the Kingbreaker are pretty close to being the same. Now, one of the problems I gotta say with my build right now and why I might want to change it
Reinforcements.
is because if I'm running the closer chest piece, the question you would want to ask would be, well, why don't you just run the Kingbreaker? And you would be absolutely accurate by asking that question. Good point. Good point. I'm glad you asked. I should be. I should be, because it's an automatic 20% amp damage, and you don't have to worry about the length and time in which you're firing, which like this one. So the reality is I should change the build. Not because the build is bad. It's an absolutely great build. The problem is it's doing a bad job of highlighting the uniqueness of the weapon, because the TKB would be better in this slot. So we can go obliterate, and that would match up fine. Where'd he go? Damn, he just jumped up there. Fucking boy's got hops. So yeah, obliterate, or I'd even go focus on this personally, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We could also go companion, but we don't really need the status effects. Like I really like that perfect companion chest piece only for the St. Elmo's, because at least the shock ammo is benefiting from it. It'll also be great for the new SMG. The Boros, whatever it's called. The origami. Okay, let's let these enemies come out, and let's change our chest piece. Let's try focus. That's the good news about this, is allow me to put on some more crits. Because I'll be able to take off the laser pointer. I'll move this to crit chance. I could also put on more stability. Let's try that. Let's try that. So we got, because it's not fully optimized for strain this way, but I think I'm okay. Kind of leaning more into the shots on targets than the damage per shot. Just I don't know if I need it, but so it's kind of a test. I needed my fucking controller. My damn controller. Come on, dude. So, you know, we'll also try the Manic. The Manic, I think it's Dark Zone exclusive. Yeah, maybe. let's put on the Manic now. So the Manic has got this double your mag capability here. It's everything else is the same. So let's just load it up. It's exceptionally good on the for legendary content. I feel like it's really helpful keeping that sustained firing going. Let's see here. Can we put on this? Doesn't get this skin. It's no good. I really need to figure out what button is jump or climb. It's B, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. It's my muscle memory gets all screwed up when I'm playing more than one game. It's annoying. I really don't like it. Why can't all games just have the same configuration, huh? So obviously we're running the wrong specialization right now, but we'll fix that. Oh, that's 1.4 million right there without a damage talent. That's pretty cool. You know, if you think about it, that's just base damage right there. Because this is perfect overflowing, so every 2 reloads. You just got to remember not to reload in between, which is hard for me to do, apparently. So let's go make some changes. Real quick, run this one more time and then look at the next weapon set. Yeah, I think with a gun with so many rounds like this, you probably should hold it down. You know what I mean? Kind of, you're turning it into an LMG, you know? I feel like it doesn't make sense in a lot of applications. You know, it doesn't. So like for running and gunning too much, you know, you're reloading all on your own way too many times, where having such a large mag is more of a waste. And so I've always found that it tends to work better in Legendary, this setup, because you go into a zone, you plant your places in cover, you clear that checkpoint, and then move on to the next. And so that double mag thing really makes a lot of sense in that setup. Whatever way you run it, though, it's just they're all good. But yeah, you got to think about your synergies, you know? You do have to think about your synergies. So if you're going to run Spotter here, then you're going to want to run the Kingbreaker, and you're going to dismiss any of the AKs, because the Kingbreaker is basically an AK with a little bit of RPM boost. That's basically what it is. It's an AK with 50 more RPM. And so that's going to be a little bit more helpful on your DPS. The downside is that you have to run a laser pointer, or you have to pull up a pulse through some other creative way, which there's a couple. But they're not that interesting. And so if you want to run another special, it's all going to come down to your specialization. So if you look at a build like this, okay, and you're going to be like, well, okay, I want to run TKB, but I need armor on kill, 10% armor on kill, then the TKB might not be your best bet. The AK could be, right, with a different talent like Strained. And so that could change your opinion there. Or you'll be like, fuck it, I love the Kingbreaker so much, I'm going to run Technician. Or, you know, one of those other creative ways to get your pulse. And then if you want to run Firewall, is another example. If you're going to run Firewall, then you're going to want to run the AK with Strained and not the Kingbreaker. But in the end, you're going to get the job done the same way. And so I didn't have any trouble killing with this thing. It performs for me the same as the Kingbreaker does. And so I've noticed myself saying that a lot in these build videos, especially in the meta break ones, because it's kind of like in the end, the results are going to be the same, you know, and I just keep saying that because these weapons, like when you get to a weapon class that's sort of elite, right? You can get to these elite weapon classes, top tier, the result is always the same, right? So it really is. It's got a good time to kill, good base weapon damage, good enough handling, you know, that kind of stuff. Because if it didn't have those things, I wouldn't even be showing you the weapon. Not on purpose, at least. I mean, sometimes I pull up a weapon saying, hey, let's try this one. We haven't used it in a while. And I'm like, oh, now I remember why we didn't use it, because it fucking sucks. Putting it away. You know what I mean? Like, so that happens, of course, you know. And then we quickly move on. Hey, okay, speaking of moving on, let's look at the SMG now. This little bad boy. Where'd he go? Did I not pull you in yet? Oh, I'm over here. Wrong side of things. Okay. So I do showcase the Savage Wolverine a lot. I'm a big fan of the Savage Wolverine. It's really good. The only reason why I'm kind of hesitant on doing that right now is because it's locked basically behind research. And so it takes time to get through that research, but it's a really good gun. You do have to build it accordingly, but what is it? Is it the firewall research? So view field research. And so here, so it's basically at the bottom of this, which isn't super hard, but it's a project to get through all of these, right? And you just got to check all these things off your list, basically kill this, kill that. I can't remember anymore. But yeah, you get that Savage Wolverine, and it's a worthy weapon because it's built on a Honey Badger, really good base weapon, also holds the pulse and scopes. So it is down one mod, but it's at this RPM. Whew. Yeah, the police biz, very similar to this. What we're about to get into, actually. Did I pull it in? Yeah, I did. And then also the rail splitter. I want to do that also. But let's do this one for now. And so I run this one with strain because of its low rate of fire. So it's basically like the AK of SMGs. And so this is like, if it's wood, it's good category, right? And that's kind of what we say in this game. Like, if it's made out of wood, it's good. It tends to be that way. And so, you know, we sleep on this weapon because you don't have any idea how many of these I crushed before I realized it was such a good weapon. Let's just not change anything on the setup. Let's just get out there and use it. Let me make sure I got the right weapon set up here. Actually, let me keep assault rifles, and then we'll change this to cool. So I won't change anything because SMGs still work with Striker. Of course, you can run Hunter's Fury, make good use of that. I have found that Hunter's Fury and Striker are interchangeable for me on SMGs. Just depends on what you're looking for. So when I run Striker, I usually with the memento and add a little bit of armor, and you're good to go. With Hunter's Fury, it gives you flexibility. Like, the biggest win for me with Hunter's Fury is the flexibility and specialization, because you got all your armor and kill on your build, and so you could, you know, go firewall or whatever. Where with the Striker setup, you probably want to use Gunner. You don't have to. Actually, you could just rely on the memento, which I do a lot too. But yeah, Hunter's Fury, I always feel like the memento on SMG builds is just, you just have to. It's just because, you know, you need bonus armor, and so your options are going to be, you know, not talking Heartbreaker, but the memento or Bloodsucker or Adrenaline Rush. And the problem with Adrenaline Rush is on an SMG, your biggest weakness is damage at range. And then, the, what do you call it? Adrenaline Rush just doesn't give you any assistance there. Okay. Everything's so slow in this game.
Serious trauma detected.
All right. Ooh, she was fast. You see her run down the stairs? Let's heal up, see if we can do that before getting killed. There we go. See that? So I'm pulled in here because I know what my biggest weakness is, and that's taking damage from across the field by some automated turret that it's got his that has my number tattooed to its ass. Oh, it feels so good. So I've always called this gun, it's basically like the Johnny Cash of SMGs, you know, just steady as a freight train. Strong and steady. And it's just like, it shoots straight, and it's actually got, because of its recoil pattern, its fire pattern, SMGs are kind of circular. And it's a little bit more straight. It fires like an assault rifle more. And it allows me to go further, feel comfortable with my range deeper than most other SMGs. And check this out, no mods. No mods. And look at what we're doing to these enemies, you know? Now, a lot of people will use the ump is an alternate to this. It gives you, I believe, I don't have it memorized, but because it's not for me, but and I've tried it. It just feels differently. It's just one of those weapons that's just like, from a stats perspective, it looks like it makes sense, and some people really love it. It's gonna be a preference thing, and you make your choice. You try them both. Just make your choice. There's no wrong answer. They're the same weapon. Again, same results. So it's all about slow RPM, high base damage. And if I remember right, the police ump is less damage, but more mods. And so you make up for that damage by adding mods. So the net result is basically the same. But you have choice on your side, right? Do you see how far I took her out at and how steady my shots were? It's a big deal. See that? That's a big deal for SMGs, right? Because that's your biggest limitation, is how far you can shoot and actually land your shots. On target, that is. And again, the slower the weapon, the more control you have, and the more basically meat you harvest per bullet. And that's goes a long ways when you're in this range, and to have the ability to kill fast and to stagger and have ammo remaining is a little bit of a game changer.
Incoming hostiles detected.
I mean, we're not even on, we don't even have all our stacks. Let me get those up. God, she's fast.
Engaging.
Oh, cutting them in half. That actually feels better than the AK. Especially for this out of cover playstyle. For sure. For sure. Not even an argument. I mean, if you can play from cover and hold it down, the AK, no doubt. No doubt. This still plays from cover, but you gotta get close, right? So you can still play from cover. But, you know, they're gonna throw every fucking grenade at you. That's one of the reasons why I move. The more I move, the less chances of getting hit by those grenades. I mean, and there's nothing against the right foamers, man. They're gonna flank you anyways, you know? So you could say, well, if you get out of cover, you're gonna get caught by the riflemen. Yeah, they're coming for me anyways, though. No matter what I do. Yeah. This is one of those weapons that you use and you remember how good it was. I remember you. And that's also why you might not want to run Hunter's Fury with this one, because you have more range. And so you can start killing these guys. You see that? Outside of 15 meters. Now, it might not look impressive, but really, the shots on target at that range is for an SMG, you know? All day long, you do that with an assault rifle, but... See that? Even from cover, these fucking rifleman guys. They find their way of getting to me. I mean, the non-elites is whatever. Farts in the wind. Farts in the wind. What up, Calanzo? Mr. 808? What is that, Florida? Or is that Atlanta? Oh, he's not gonna like that, is he? Yeah, that's a good build. Kalans. I like what you got going on there. Hawaii. Ah. Welcome, brother. Is it earlier in Hawaii? What time is it in Hawaii right now, right? You're a couple hours behind, aren't you? Yeah, you are. I think so. Because you're south and west to me. I'm in Portland, where we also get a lot of Hawaiians. We get a lot of Hawaiians in Oregon. Yeah, I run it strained. I do. Again, you don't have any mods on this. You just have this this option. So, you know, whatever. But 2-second reload and SMG, you know, not the greatest. You have no options. You just put this on, you know, put on your best World War II combat outfit. Go to town. So the new named weapon that they're giving us, that's got this new accuracy stat coming on it, accuracy stability stat, which I like, actually. It's going to be interesting. That's going to be a good one. I'm going to use that. Not necessarily the perfect version. I don't think you're going to need the perfect version, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Because the perfect version gives you up to 75%, but that's a lot. You know, it is a lot, and it's great. I want 75%, but you know, if the non-perfect version gives me 50%, I can use whatever weapon I want. I'm even better. You know, because 50% is cool too, man. You know, really is good to go. 50% accuracy stability. You're not going to miss that 25%, you know, and it's maintainable. Now there is the duration in between, you know, so when you stop firing, that could make me want to use the perfect, but my point is that they put it on the Tommy gun, which is the same as the M19, whatever this is, 28. It's the same weapon. It's just the biggest difference is the accuracy. And I haven't used the Tommy gun in a while, but I remember saying, "Oh, man, let me try that." I love the 1928. Oh, yeah, it felt horrible at the time I tried it. I feel like it's trolling me. Oh. I love to hear all those headshots with this gun. Dude, get out of here. Fucking farting everywhere.
Reinforcements in place.
You don't die from your own gas? God damn it. Yeah.
Agent
I
incapacitated.
expected him to die from his own gas and it got me killed. Whoa!
Heavily armored hostiles detected.
Close quarters.
You don't need Hunter's Fury. 100 Furies for pussies! Just kidding. I like Hunter's Fury. I was saying though, several weeks back though, actually, I'm using strikers on my SMGs more than Hunter's Fury. One is for that distance thing I was talking about. And then sometimes that stagger effect can be more annoying than helpful. And then the RPM boosts I like on SMGs too, but the weapon handling too for the reload speeds, all helpful. It's kind of the same thing in a funny way. So one of the applications or the points of the stagger is to buy time to reload. And so with more reload speed, you're kind of getting the same. Oh, really? Did you see her adjust that grenade? That's fucking bullshit. They're amazing NPCs.
Convoy.
How's that feel?
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Let's do this, motherfucker. Oh, oh, double punch. Fuck. That's gonna hurt. I'm trying to avoid that. I've been trying to get to that right foam guy this whole time. Oh, that was all about the right foam guy. I didn't want to get right foamed up there. I avoided it, but got the sucker punch instead. We're alive.
Heavily armored hostile detected.
Where'd you go?
They're coming from the side. Man down!
Oh, great stagger. Shieldless there. I'm impressed by staggers more than anything in a weapon. No idea how much that saves your ass. The M19 with Outsider. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I'd be willing to try it. It's, huh. That's a good question. We could try that. Brooding Pegasus. Yeah, I got a YouTube channel if you're talking about that. Otherwise, I'll just show you the build that I'm running right now. So in these build labs, we throw things together on the fly throughout the build. I mean, throughout the video live stream. So it's kind of the point of this is of these streams, these build lab streams, to showcase some of this fun stuff. Like as we develop it, right? Kind of the process. If you click stream, oh, I'm sorry, brooding. If you click the link at the top of the chat, there's a pinned video up there. That'll take you to my channel on YouTube. There's also a link on Twitch, you know, if you kind of scroll down below the video head. Look at all this wyvern shit. Let's delete it. Yeah, I agree. Outsider is pretty good for SMGs, but you know where I'm kind of thinking here in my head is I remember, you know, when we ran that Outsider, so we created a build for the Outsider talent, and I never ended up making the video just because I got distracted by other stuff. But so we ended up losing the MPI, the perfect Outsider, and we realized, or I realized at least, that it's better on a weapon that's faster with also a faster reload. So a faster RPM, if I'm remembering right, allowed you to make more use out of that talent. And so I think I ended up putting that one on the Vector. We could take a look at it. And so this would be the opposite, right? Because it's a slower weapon. Okay, let's reset this. We'll go take a look. You put the good times with Hunter's Fury? Osriel? That's interesting. Just kind of make sure you stay in tight. I love the good times. I love it. Love it. Actually, I was going to look at that variant today. I don't know if we're going to have time, but it was one of the weapons on the list. We could look at it tomorrow. Be streaming tomorrow, of course. Saturday night. So let's take a look at the Outsider talent here and see how it reads. Exactly. Recoil, SMGs, talents, and then Outsider. So it's the 10-second part. So after killing an enemy, gain 100% optimal range and 100% accuracy for 10 seconds. Yeah, so let's let's throw it on here and see what we think about it. So from a damage perspective, you know, the weapon plus striker, we should be good to do whatever we want with the weapon talent. Outsider. And then let me see if I have, I doubt I do, but because I remember putting it on, oh, maybe it was unwavering that I'm thinking of. I might have been thinking of unwavering with the fast SMGs. That's probably what I was thinking of. Okay. Because we did them both in the same stream. So we did the unwavering and the outsider SMGs build showcases on the same stream. But unwavering, we, instead of using the MP whatever, M7 or whatever it is, I ended up realizing that it's better to just go with the faster weapon so you get more use out of it on the unwavering side. So that's what that's about. Okay, so yeah, this might work out well. Let's give it a try. Oh shit, I didn't realize that. Thanks, guys. Thought I changed that. Okay, yeah, we were missing a chest talent. That's funny. All right, there we go. All over the place today. Don't worry. So we could probably clear these crits a little bit. Yeah. Put back on crit damage here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that was just to show you how good the weapon is. You didn't actually need a chest talent to do any of that. Isn't that funny if you think about it, right? You don't need a chest talent and you don't need mods. And that's what basically that was. You know what I mean? You don't even need a chest, right? Because I was running marksman rifle chest with a talent that wasn't working. And we had too many crit chances. We had too many crits on the build. I didn't adjust that. We had too many crit chance on the build. So now we're going to be stronger in the build and then take away the weapon talent. Sorry. Too much talking, not enough focusing on the build sometimes. Like I said, I was in the same position last time I said that. The same exact spot. It's like deja vu right here. Like I literally say I'm a one-track minded man. You know, I was like right at the same exact spot, at the same point in the control point when I said that last time. Holy shit. It's like a whole army coming at me. Look at that foam range. Oh my god. Oh my god. .617 crit on the body. That's without trophies. So 10 seconds isn't that bad of a time. Somebody has hella good range on me. Did you see all that shit? I think it's that red guy back there. Wow. I'm impressed. Take it easy, game. Take it easy. Jesus. What a million crit right there. Yeah, I think we're good, man. I like it. I like an outsider. Because Good suggestion. I can see it kicking in. I can feel it kicking in, I should say. I mean, look at that shit. That feels great. Well, also because we were missing a bunch of, by comparison, we were missing a bunch of damage talents. There you go. Let's do this, motherfucker. Toe to toe with a heavy. He's heavy, man. That's over 30 million on that guy. And we broke his helmet. Absolutely a beast. With Outsider, it feels great. I gotta say, it feels great. I can see or feel it kicking in. And we're staggering. So they don't get a chance to shoot back. Always a fan of that. Oh, at range, 700, a million at range. Oh yeah, on an SMG, that's amazing. I'm a fan. 1.1. See that? Now the reason why I'm bragging about that is because we're not running it. We're running Outsider, and so I'm a firm believer on talents like Outsider, fast hands, steady hands, like all those. I'm a big fan of those utility talents on builds specifically that have the power that you can sacrifice it for that utility, right? Like right there. I mean, like what I'm trying to tell you is that there's so many people that don't believe this, and it's insane, is that you can have enough damage on your build, and we have enough damage on our build. I mean, if I'm critting at 1.1 million on that enemy, do you think it'll change the game if I was critting at 1.2 million? Honest question. Do you think that'll actually make a difference? Do you think my survivability will go up? Do you think I'll clear content faster? No. The answer is no. I'll tell you the answer. It was rhetorical. So if you answered, shame on you. Just kidding. No, no, the answer is no, though. It doesn't change my performance because the time to kill is already optimal. And so if you've already reached optimal time to kill, any damage you add above and beyond that is diminishing its return to you. Now, that's subjective to the content you're playing and your playstyle. So, for example, if I change to like legendary content, then we're talking about different damage figures. And so I'd have to reconfigure the build. So that's not what we're saying here, right? So what we're saying for a build that's tailored for the content in which you are playing, which is just common sense, that, you know, that you don't need to add, once you achieve that optimal time to kill, you're good to go. And so that's what's impressive with these, that's like steady hands and stuff like that, like on a Striker from Moss build is absolutely, you know, a win, not a loss. You didn't need that damage talent, and you could prove it to yourself by taking off that damage talent, just like we did here, you know. So, and we're able to see ourselves killing enemies at range, and I can witness that enough to saying it's effective, you know. And I'm not a big Outsider fan, to tell you the truth, and I think it might be because of the weapon they put it on, you know, the SIG, which I really like that weapon, but and it's strong. But I don't think it's strong enough. Like, I don't think I'd like the Outsider on the Vector, you know? it would work, but the Vector's got a really low base damage, so it's still gonna take a lot of bullets. And the SIG MPX is a little bit stronger than the Vector, but not strong enough for me to justify Outsider with it, you know? And so when you suggested, hey, try it with Outsider, you know, I thought about it, I was like, you know what, this might have the high enough base damage where maybe I'll like it.
Hostile control
And I do.
identified.
I do. It's better than the Bullet King, Biz. You're right. Better than the Bullet King. The only thing the Bullet King gives you that one doesn't is bullets back. It actually generates ammo, which can have a use. Okay, so we normally actually start up here. Let's see if I can get to this.
Eyes on. You're going down.
So with SMGs, your start where you kick off your fight is gonna make a big difference. Heal up from that shit. Because again, your enemy is your distance, which we got an answer for here, but still we have to earn it. And those turrets are, you know, on another level. I gotta get that purple turret.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Oh, perfect application of that talent. One 1.230. Beautiful.
Detecting
And exhilarating. It's got all the answers to my questions. Are you effective and are you fun? Checks the box.
Get them away from
What the fuck? God, he's gone.
hostiles guarding location nearby.
going for the flag.
Oh my God. Where are my allies right now? You know? Are they up there or not? They're not. Fucking losers. It's a waste of my time. I mean, there's a couple guys up here, but they can't do crap with these guys. So I gotta go, like, chase them down. Oh, that's my guy. Probably a little bit too far there. Who's this annoying guy still alive down here?
Gotta take this fucker.
Supply room access unlocked.
Yeah, the chatterbox is fun too. I agree. Oh, thanks. Tap. Put that back to crit chance.
Hostiles guarding location nearby.
I do wish it was a little bit easier. I wish it would just... I wish it could... The chatterbox kind of worked like strain, like the longer you hold down your trigger, the faster it goes kind of thing. Just kind of a measured concept too. I like the auto reload thing for sure. Helps you chain kill. Boo. So, what's the vote out there? What up, Outward Curve? Morning. What's the vote on the new SMG? You think they're gonna nerf it or not? PTS is crap. It's such a joke to PTS. Look, this is my feelings on it. Like, if you're gonna put the web, how did they not know, right? So that better been intentional and okay. In other words, they better not nerf it, you know? I mean, how do they not know? It's a simple thing, you know? That it's so overpowered like that. It's a basic thing, you know? And so, did they not test it? Are they not aware of where the other weapons are in the game? Like, it's a basic element. That weapon's not that powerful. I mean, complicated. It's not that complicated. It's like they made it faster. They gave it a bigger mag and didn't give it a weapon talent. It should have been an easy thing to understand what they were doing. So I'm going to make that assumption that they knew what they were doing and it's intentionally strong like that. Okay. So that's their way of giving this more power. Let's just say that's intentional, man, because there's no way that can be an accident, right? And if it was, I'm going to be extremely disappointed because this is why I hate the PTS. I mean, I know we're it's the whole point of it's for testing, but we shouldn't be testing that. That's a basic setup error, you know? Because what that does is it get people's hopes up and sets us up for really disappointment. That's all it is. It's a big disappointment setup. And so that's kind of why I don't like the PTS from that perspective as it is, but you know, we do have to test things, right? So, and what I mean is like, I hate getting excited about something just to see it never make the game. That sucks. Come on, stuck in this fucking fire corner. This lady hits really hard. And so I'm gonna be kind of mad if they nerf that, even though, and I think it should be nerfed. So I know, I'm already mad. So, I mean, there's already build videos on that weapon, right? And so... what happens if the weapon gets nerfed before it makes a game? What, you know, people are gonna watch those build videos and think that the weapon's gonna perform and like that, and it's not, you know? Or that it's better, it's gonna be the better SMG over X, Y, and Z, and then it's not going to be, you know? That's the other problem with the PTS. Builds shouldn't be coming out of the PTS. You know? It's like, all subject to change, then why are you creating a build for it? I mean, I guess I get it, and from one perspective, I mean, just to be the devil's advocate too, it'd be like, yeah, well, give us an idea of how you would run it. You know, like, but I guess I would put it together from just a really simple perspective, but not get into too intricate of the details. You know, I'll just be like, you know, I have this on a SMG on just a standard SMG setup. And that's all we're gonna talk about for the build. Because this thing is, and so let me just show you what the weapon can do right now, all subject to change. I don't know, but my biggest thing is the setup for disappointment. So you get this weapon and it's called overpowered and everybody's gonna get excited about it. I mean, I'm excited about it. First of all, I love the Vector series and I love the tactical, and they just give it a bigger mag, which is really its only downside. Its biggest weakness was, you know, how often you had to reload. Look at this guy way back here. And they fixed that. So that makes it amazing right there. And then they gave it an RPM lift on top of that. Holy shit. It's already, they're already speaking my language right there. You know what I mean? It's my kind of style. They never really changed much after, but I don't know. You're right, but that one, I'm not sure it would be. Yeah, I have conflicted feelings about it. I mean, part of me says like that better have been intentional, otherwise that was a horrible mistake to get people's hopes up over what should have been caught before even the PTS, you know, for a balance of a weapon so overpowered. But the reality is, though, just for like health of the game, not for the dev's sake, but for your sake, you can't have a weapon that outperforms everything so drastically that it's the only weapon that everybody's gonna run, because that's exactly what happens. And it's lame. It's lame. I mean, I'm not saying don't let us feel powerful, don't let us have fun. I want to have fun. I want to feel powerful, but not to the point where the game's dead. It is literally dead when nobody runs anything but that weapon. I mean, it's borderline like that with the St. Elmo's. I mean, no, everybody's running the St. Elmo's. It's sort of like that with Striker. Everybody runs Striker, right? And for good reason, not for bad reason, because they're great and you feel powerful and you're strong. And, you know, so they would either need to nerf the, I'm not saying they should, but the St. Elmo's and the Striker, or they need to buff everything else or continue to give us things on par with St. Elmo's and Striker from this point forward, at least. You know, and all are routes to making sure not everybody's running the same thing, but, you know, it kills your possibilities out there and also the fun in the game when everybody, you know, you matchmake and everybody's running the same thing, and I don't know, on the same missions. over and over. I mean, it slaughters the dark zone. Yeah, it's gonna be the only weapon. I mean, it's the only weapon. The St. Elmo's isn't one of the big ones in there too right now, right? For good reason. And like I was just saying, I think is that in the same stream? Was that earlier today or the last stream? Can't remember. We were saying like you end up having to run it, even if you didn't want to. You went in there without like, I'm not gonna run that. Everybody's running it. And then you're like, damn it, I keep dying because everybody, it comes down to who's got the shock ammo. You know, you're like, God damn it, I better run to St. Elmo's. That's what ends up happening. That's what happened with the Lady Death. You know, God damn it, I keep getting rushed by this adrenaline rush Lady Death combo. You know, I better run it. So I mean, but anyways, going back to this SMG, I love it. I mean, what I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed for the path that this is their way of making us feel more powerful, dripping us from one season to the next, one overpowered weapon at a time to the next overpowered weapon. You know what I mean? So like St. Elmo's and this SMG are gonna be difficult to choose. So even though this one technically has a better DPS than St. Elmo's, you might still choose St. Elmo's because you got better range, you got better shock ammo. You don't have to undergo status effects to get the shock ammo, you know what I mean? So you might choose it for all those reasons. You might like the mods better, who knows? So, you know, and so I could see that as a possibility. I mean, I could see that as being a reasonable approach from the devs. Maybe that's what they're thinking. They're like, no. It's overpowered at the moment, but wait till you see what else we have, and you're gonna realize they're all getting a lift. Every weapon we're developing is getting a lift because that's what we heard your feedback, and we know that's what you want. You want to feel stronger and have your utility too. And isn't that what this provides us? Strength and utility. Status effects being that utility. And so that's what I'm hoping. They're gonna be like, yeah. So it's really strong and it's gonna be what everybody runs for a while, but and then, I mean, if they were really planning into this game, they would say, yes, this is our way of handling our stash space issues. By creating a new series of weapons that outperforms all the old ones so we can start phasing shit out. Or you're not gonna put them in your stash anymore. I mean, that would kind of be smart, kind of. The problem is that it'd be a work in progress, but wouldn't it? You know what I mean? So, you know, going back to that stash space issue we've been talking about being a big issue for this game because it requires more servers out of them and that's money. And they're looking to save costs, not increase costs in the mature cycle of this game. And so that'd be interesting. I mean, it's probably too creative of a route to be the actual case, but like, just, you know, give us a series of weapons that is a new era in development weapons, basically, and division weapons. A new era in division weapons to the point where they're all gonna come out basically in the great to God tier category, you know, and gets us to prefer a smaller selection of weapons, in turn cleaning up our stash and achieving our goal, which is to feel powerful and have fun in the game, right? So you're getting both. Not just an OP weapon, but they're answering our prayers, which is, can we please feel stronger because these NPCs are annoying. I don't know. The reality is it's probably nothing like that. The devs are kind of in their own world right now, working on season 4, you know? And this is probably just a fluke, but... Yeah, curious. We never really know. Wouldn't you love to hear? Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Dragon, switch to talent. Anyways, but but either way, I just, the worst case scenario is they just set up expectations and then we get disappointed as a community. Yeah, I haven't been watching the PTS. I typically don't, to be honest with you. I usually just kind of get, I mean, in a new game mode, I will, like Descent, you know, watched a little bit of it. From Pound of Flesh, it was helpful to watch him play. And he was just casually doing it, but it gave me the gist of how it worked. And I like what he talks about. You guys ever listen to Pound of Flesh? He's on Twitch. I like how he talks. He's got the same voice as Howard Stern. Like his vocal range and pitch and all that. He actually, he kind of reminds me of Howard Stern. He doesn't talk about Howard Stern stuff, but I'm just saying, like, he's got that voice. He's got a good radio voice, basically. Broadcasted voice. And he's funny. And he's engaging. He talks to his community. I'm a big fan of that. On streams, you know? Hey, look, a commando. The problem right now is like so much running around looking for the enemy that like my stacks degrade. It's a problem. It's a standard in this control point. It's good. There's a lot of angles. The stagger is amazing on it. It's so consistent. Big deal. Outward curve it up. Did I already say hi? I don't remember. Yeah, so high hopes for this next season. It will be fun, regardless of what I'm saying. Just kind of speaking the truth here on how I feel about it. But I do look forward to it. I do think it's going to be fun. I am excited as it sits for the stuff to come as it sits. I already have some great build ideas. I see a lot of potential for legendary content in all of them, even that SMG, and that's always a good sign, you know, because more team build setups, more wingman concepts, explosive resistance. So those are good creative builds. I'm sure, I mean, the Mad Bomber one, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use Mad Bomber one. I mean, we already don't use Mad Bomber. You know what I mean? So giving us a perfect Mad Bomber, it's just sort of like, great. You know? I mean, I can make a build for it just because they made a perfect version of it, but that doesn't mean it all of a sudden made Mad Bomber good. Because Mad Bomber's not bad. It's not bad. It already does what you need it to do, and that's increase the radius. The other stuff, who cares? You can cook a grenade, who cares? You end up blowing yourself up. You know what I mean? But like, the reality is that it already does what you need it to do, which is give it a big enough radius. And so when the content that you're using it on, and the builds that you're using it on are usually team support builds, usually, right? And you're usually running them in missions where the rooms engagement points are tight. And so a well-placed grenade isn't that hard to do. And, you know, the current state of Mad Bomber, which I think is 50% radius, is already suitable. And so an increase in that, although nice, is just not really what it needs. You know, what they needed was to rewrite the talent so that we'd use it, if that makes sense, right? Because it's we use it on a rare occasion. But yeah, so otherwise, so that's probably the only, maybe one of the biggest ones. What's the backpack one again? What did they give us for the backpack? Oh, isn't it the overcharged one with the med kit? Isn't that what the backpack is? Anyways, the weapon talent that they're giving us, oh, I'm psyched about that. I mean, any new talent is always a cool thing, right? Unless they give us Thunder Strike. I'm just not a big fan of that whole series. You know what I mean? Where upon the status effect to give this damage, because it's just so limited. I mean, it's just like, well, how am I going to shock my targets if I'm using this weapon? And every time I switch weapons, I lose my stacks from St. Elmo's. So even if I already have my shock ammo, I lose progress. So I don't know if you noticed. So you can earn shock ammo, but it doesn't kick in until the next mag, which means you're stacking for the next round of shock ammo. For the next earning of shock ammo, you can earn towards that. And so if you reload, or if you swatch, sorry, not reload, but if you swap weapons, after you earn your ammo, you lose that stacking progress and make it even harder or longer to get the next batch of shock ammo. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. But it's a misalignment for the cabaret, is it not? You're essentially taking a nerf to switch your weapon to get a little bit more damage, and then it just kind of comes down like, fuck it, why would I switch? I mean, the St. Elmo's is good to go. I mean, you know, it's like it don't really need to change talents. God damn it. Oh, I thought I had my shield out. That was bad. Let me reset that. So you don't really need, you know, you don't need to switch weapons. It's just efficient if you could, but you can't without having an impact to later performance, you know? And so it's sort of like, yeah, so switching to the cabaret, that means like the only application for the cabaret is maybe a shock trap. And so, and it's only gonna work when somebody's standing in the shock trap getting shocked. So it's like, what about everybody not standing in the shock trap? So I'm just not a big fan of that whole series. Of course, you have the ones Sadist, and Sadist is actually the easier one because we have so much that works with it, like the ongoing directive chest piece is a big one for that. Well, mostly the only one, isn't it? But bleed is easier, but we also have skills that are really easy to deploy for that. Sort of. I don't know. They're kind of the same, but mostly it's ongoing directive. But ignited, not a big fan of that because it got to be actually on fire. And enemies might only be on fire for 3 or 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. And so, you know, and then you got to put your gun away, catch somebody else on fire, and then put your gun back on. And it's just like, oh my, playing that way is very slow. You can achieve it, you can make it work, but it's gonna take you a half hour to clear a control point. You know, because you're adding steps into your kill. When it's just like, fuck it, I mean, you'd be better off just, to be honest with you, you'd be better off using the pyromaniac without catching anybody on fire and just not caring that you're losing your base damage, which absolutely is pointless, right? So, I mean, losing your talent. So you lose your talent, but you're like, yeah, fuck it. It's just less complicated, and I'm still gonna get the job done with a couple of extra bullets, but it takes more time to rotate weapons to my chem or whatever fire weapon, and then, you know, or wait for them to catch on fire, and then they're not on fire, and then I get rushed by 3 guys. I don't have time to switch to my fire. You know, it's just like, you know, condition. On some things, that's okay, though. You know, on some things, it's okay. Like, it depends on the setup. Like, I got a riot foam headshot build, pistol build. So riot foam headshot, and it's relatively simple mechanic. And the reason why it's acceptable is because it only takes 1 bullet to kill the enemy. So, you know, you riot foam him and then you kill him in 1 bullet. So it's all in no time. And in the end, it ends up saving you time because it cuts out the BS, the circus acts that the NPCs go through, right? Do on you. You know how they're always hopping around like freaking maniacs. So the riot foam stops that, and makes clearing content a lot faster. Because they do that a lot. And so you're missing shot, taking damage. Finally got him, you know. Trauma chest piece. Good one, Chris. Good one. Let's see. Expertise. I got to get some of this stuff used up here. Research. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited about that game mode. You know, that's also in the shadows. You don't know what that looks like. But I'm excited for the big reveal. So they usually do the reveal stream like a couple of days before launch. It's like like that. So if they launch on Tuesday, they usually do the reveal stream like on the Thursday or Friday right before, or even the Monday. They've done that like the day before. You're like, oh great, so we're getting new content tomorrow. Thanks for the heads up. I could have taken the whole day off. And then you do take the whole day off, and then they have some bug that doesn't allow you to play. That happened, right? Oh my god, that was horrible, guys. So do you remember that? What season was that? Season 11? Or I can't remember. Or was it season 1, year 5? I can't remember. I think it was season 1, year 5, right? So this season. So I think they launched it and it just everything broke, right? And it was like the worst possible situation. You literally, I hardly experience bugs on the Xbox. Like, it's pretty rare for me to encounter game-breaking bugs where I just can't play, right? It's rare. The deltas are relatively rare for me too. It happens, but it's pretty rare. And so when the devs broke the game, I was like, holy shit, like, I'm on Xbox and I can't get in? Oh, what a mess. And the problem was this, though. Okay, that aside. So I was actually impressed by how fast they got it fixed. So I think it happened on like a Wednesday, I think. And then they had it up by Friday going into the weekend. So that was impressive. And so, but the sad thing is that a lot goes into the community when we have a big release like that. It wasn't just another season. I think we were getting game modes too. And so, you know, I know many of you guys took the day off of work, and lots of people take the day off of work because they're excited and they're going to jump in and it's fun. And this is a lifestyle game. You know what I mean? We're into it. And, you know, so I got up at I started streaming at like 4 in the morning, thinking like that's plenty of time because it was supposed to be ready by 3:30 in my morning. So I started streaming at like 4 in the morning, kind of, you know, we kind of get queued up before it launches and look at the loading screen, waiting for it to go, Never goes. Then they put out a tweet. So this is how bad it was. They put out a tweet and it said like, oh, okay, we're extending it by an hour. And we're like, oh, we're gonna have to wait an hour. Okay, let's just kick back. We'll talk or whatever. And then another tweet comes out somewhere else. You know, it's like, well, oh my God, they're tweeting this. And they're like, we're extending it by another 3 hours. I was like, 3 hours from when? 3 hours from now or 3 hours from the original launch date? Launch time. You know what I mean? Like, what's the extension? You know, holy shit. And then extended. Oh, sorry, the game's permanently broken. We don't have a timeline. It's like, oh my God. We wasted all day starting at 3:30, or I started streaming at 4 in the morning, which means I got up way earlier than that, right? Like, oh my God. But, the things you do when you love a game, huh? Yeah, so I hope with this new launch, it goes a lot smoother, you know? Because new game modes are complicated. I get it. You don't know what's going to break when you're pushing it over to the live server from their testing environment. So, and apparently things can break. And I understand, like, from what my take on it, from kind of reading what they put out and stuff like that. When they put out this new content, the stuff that breaks ends up being, it's the old code, the original stuff. Like, it's breaking fundamental systems, you know? And, you know, that's where the conflicts come in, and that's what they have to fix. And so that's really interesting, you know what I mean? It's really interesting. But they're learning from it, I'm sure, every time. But it's just one of those things that I think we've just learned to accept, right? We just kind of learned to accept that, you know, when a new launch, there's probably going to be some bugs. You know what I mean? It's just the way of the Division 2. And hopefully not forever. But, you know, they're hiring and stuff like that. So, you know, and they extended development times to hopefully prepare for that too, I guess. You know what I mean? So I think that would be the worst thing, right? So you know what I'm talking about, extended. So the seasons used to be 3 months, now they're 4 months, and they made that change mid-season. So we should be playing the new content right now. We're not. So that kind of sucks, right? It was kind of a big bummer, actually. You know, I understand the reason, I get it, but it was a bummer because it's like, oh, mid-season, this is bad timing. You know what I mean? We're kind of on this upward momentum in the game and excitement, and you just threw a wet blanket on it, you know? And it's just like, that was just a big wet blanket, you know? And so, I mean, a couple of weeks isn't a big deal, but I don't know, it ended up being a solid 4 to 6 weeks of a stretch, and we don't even have a hard date on that launch, so it could be more, right? And so, but I get it. So I get it, but it would be really disappointing is if all of that extension happens so that they can have more quality launches, and then we still get a shit launch. You understand how disappointing that would be? And a shit launch to me means they don't take any of that PTS feedback and implement it. That's a shit launch. Because it's like, you guys extended this out so long and you didn't even have enough time to buy in PTS feedback, you know, development. It's just like, oh, okay. But that isn't the worst part. The worst part is if there's something that, like, okay, we're supposed to launch on this day and we do, and then it's like there's something is out of whack, right? Like, even if a game loads up, even if you can get in, but it's something so bad, like the season pass isn't active, or the manhunt doesn't work, or something like that. It's just like, I mean, no game is perfect. My expectations are real. You know what I mean? I am okay with bugs in any game I play. I do not care unless it's game breaking. You know what I mean? And that can happen, and I'll understand it from time to time, but constantly it does get frustrating. And I get it, especially for PC players who constantly crash every day. You know, that kind of thing. But like an example is the worst thing you can do is have a progression bug. So a manhunt that doesn't work as a progression bug, right? Another one was, like, remember when the Pentagon was glitched out, so new players couldn't progress past the Pentagon? That's a progression bug. It needs to be fixed immediately. No ifs, ands, or buts. Reallocate all your resources to that bug, because you have people that can no longer play the game, a community that can no longer play the game, you know? Apparently they don't make those choices or decisions or don't have the luxury of making them at Ubisoft Massive. You know what I mean? So, because I think like, you know, on the PC side, I don't know what goes on over there really, but they're constantly working on it, but the people still have issues and, you know, I don't know. Can you guys just all buy an Xbox or PlayStation and simplify things so we can get those resources put out into new content? I know that's a lot to ask, I know, but whatever. That's an issue, and it's probably because the game's old, right? You know, it's been around for a while, and it's, you know, it's not. They don't have the resources to meet new technology and graphics cards and whatever. So, you know, who knows? I don't know what the actual issues are, but whatever it is, you know, it plagues that community, and that's who we have testing the new gear, right? The smaller end of the community that's taking the biggest hit. You know, so it's really interesting. It's really interesting. That's the nature of the PTS because it's limited to being not on Xbox and PlayStation because they need upfront approvals that take forever. But so you know, I hope for the best, but I would be the other, and then the third thing that would really irritate me with the next season is if season 1 runs out. Okay, so I should look at the timeline. So we got a few weeks here. So we got this one running for till Tuesday, I think, right? 3 days, yeah. And then we have this one that's gonna run for 2 weeks. So we have 2 weeks and 2 days. And so in theory, the new content should launch on August 1st, give or take a day. So what would irritate me is if we get to August 1st and we don't have a hard launch date in the very near future. I'm saying like August 5th, August 8th at the latest. You know what I mean? Like a week gap at the latest, you know? And so if they push out like 2+ over anything over 2 weeks, I'm gonna be so irritated. It's like, what are you guys killing me over here? You're killing me, you know? I hear you, Mike. I hear you. What you got to do is get your wife to play The Division 2. No, don't do that because then you will no longer have access to your PC. She'll probably be hogging it. Yeah, so that would come. That's the word. Those are the 3 bugaboos right there. You know, that we don't want to see, right? So that we don't want to see. So 1 is we would expect PTS feedback. 2 is that we'd expect the game to launch cleanly, no game breaking bugs. So that includes any progression. Obviously, you got to be able to load up in the game, and any new content not being playable. So like rewards tracks and the new incursion, those must be playable. The new exotics must be able to be earned and used. All the new content must work. Now, it's okay if there's minor glitches and like, you know, whatever, but like maybe it conflicts with this one skill or, you know, whatever. There's always that random thing, okay? But it's got to be usable and playable. And then the final one is when August 1st hits, or when this season ends, we need to have a date, and it can't be 2 weeks. More than 2 weeks beyond this season. Those are reasonable community expectations, you know, because we are in the dark and we are in the shadows over here, right? So we don't get a bunch of news. So we're left with nothing but reputation and expectation. You know what I mean? So what are the division's reputations? And then how can we adapt our hope, or how do you say, set our expectations according to those reputations? And that's what I just laid out in light of these new developments, which is we are extending seasons so that we have more time for us and less time for you. Because that's sort of what that is, right? It's like, so that we can develop more, but that means you take the shitty end of the stick on that one. You know what I mean? So, okay. we'll bite the bullet on this one in the community, but you better fucking deliver. You know what I mean? Or we're gonna have riots. We're gonna have riots. Yeah, it's okay. So that's what we're talking. We were talking about Ortiz. I mean, I think it's cool. We kind of opened the stream about it, but you know, I was saying that, you know, all the gear sets are all right. I mean, the brand set, whatever it's called again, is, you know, I like the explosive resistance. Nothing else is useful for the most part. So, but even explosive resistance is a niche thing. So, but it does have applications. So we'll have a little bit of fun there with it, but we could have gotten better. We could have gotten better. I mean, I think it would probably for this season and theme, we would have been better off starting with skill efficiency at the first level. Even that's something like 5% skill efficiency or whatever. You know what I mean? I would have taken 5% skill efficiency. That's skill health, skill damage, status effects, duration, haste. You know what I mean? So that's like, you know, it's only 5%, but it's 5% of a bunch of things. So that would have been better than explosive resistance and health and LMG damage. LMG damage at the end of a brand bonus attribute is a shitty lineup. And in the middle is health, which is the last thing we roll on our builds next to explosive resistance. You know, it's like the worst lineup you could ever have. LMG, skill health, and explosive resistance. 3 of the least used attributes in the game, all in the same gear set. That's already sinking. Do I have builds for it? Absolutely. Are they going to be good? Of course. You know what I mean? But there's only going to be a couple, you know, because it's going to play into that explosive resistance for the most part. Because the skill health isn't worth running a brand set for that. Unless you're going to be some... The bulwark shield builds don't need it, you know, so you don't need it. So relatively garbage, but it's usable and it's niche, and we'll have a couple of builds for it. So the gear set we were saying is, you know, it's kind of the same thing. It's really pitched in on, it's creative. I like that. It makes it, it's the first time they've ever applied a talent that changes the way a skill works. That's new, and I like new. And it makes a fire flamethrower actually usable and very good, as a matter of fact. However, I think it's going to be useful in only certain applications and missions. But as a general build that I'm going to put on and be happy that I have eaten up my stash space for all these pieces is probably not the case. Because you'll be like, yeah, okay, it's cool and it's fun, and we have a couple of use cases that, you know, makes it interesting. And I'm interested in using it, look forward to having fun with it. But at the end of the day, Eclipse Protocol just does it all, you know? And that's not a good reason to not give us a variation because you have a gear set that is already really good. But I think you need to make sure you don't pigeonhole it too much. And that's what it does. It's pigeonholed all into the turret. And so if you don't run the turret, basically the 4 pieces is junk. And then the other pieces are only relevant to burn. So, you know, so you're either running a fire build to get 3 pieces and you're running the turret to get 4 pieces, or you're not using it at all. And Eclipse Protocol, forget about how strong it is. It's just the fact that it's useful on whatever skill you put on, right? Even the artillery turret, because you got amplified damage going to status affected targets. So it's just like, so I mean, everything, riot foam, pulse, blind, whatever, everything technically runs with the Eclipse, even your skill damage. And a lot of people don't do that, but the reality is that it's actually a pretty strong build to run a 4-piece Eclipse and run a turret and like a pulse, run a ballistic turret and a pulse. You know what I mean? And that's because you're gonna get amplified damage off that backpack just for putting status effects on them. But the skill tiers alone are gonna make a strong turret, and then you could put skill damage everywhere because your cooldown on your pulse is usually fast enough, and you know, maybe run skill haste mods, right? Which is probably the only option you have anyways. And then on top of that, run the Vile Mask, and you know, you got a whip and build. Now, nobody runs it that way because everybody goes all into the status effects, but the reality is, a 6-skill turret alone, everything else aside, is strong, right? And so, and then you run the capacitor, you know, and you run a status effect that's really easy to deploy, and then you're getting that 30% amp damage. That is a very strong build. You wouldn't need to run the chest piece. So you could run glass cannon, you could run whatever. You know, so you're not making use of the proliferation thing, but you get, you know, you're getting status effects, you're getting, you know, whatever. So it's just, my point is that it's a generalist build set for the most part, you know, Eclipses. It's a generalist, and at least from the status effects part. I know I gave you something a little more creative there, but like, you know, for riot foam and fire, whatever, you run whatever, you know? And so, but not this new one. It's only the fire turret or just fire. So no foam, no anything else. Now the skill tiers are going to help you on the other levels, so that's good, but you're down one skill. It's going to be fire, and if you want to get the most out of it, you're going to run fire on both sides or something, or shock trap and fire. But I think that's a little redundant, because if the fire's strong enough, like it seems to be pretty damn strong, they should tick to death anyways. The bomber drone. Yeah, I mean, I've used it a couple times for fun. It does do a good job of popping enemies out of cover, but so many of those bombs are wasted. Yeah, so, you know, so the SMG will be good. Let's just hope that they fix it, or it comes out as it is, or I don't know. So that's what I said, like, I have mixed feelings on it, but for one of me says it needs to come out as it is because they presented it that way, and it is so glaring, obviously strong, that they should have known before and shouldn't have released it even into PTS that way unless it was intentional. So, which means it shouldn't get nerfed. Because this isn't a new game, right? So these patterns have been developed in the past. They know that a weapon in the past, but we all thought St. Elmo's would have been nerfed, and they didn't. So that's why, you know, I am confused. I don't know what they're doing here, and that's why I'm throwing out guesses, and I'm saying, like, maybe they are giving us a new class of god tier weapons because they can't power us up. So they're gonna power us up through a particular weapon so that it's not a global power up. You get it? So, because they can global, so when they rebalance the game, it's a global power up. So they weaken the enemies and they power up the all of our weapons, all of our power capabilities. And that's a global implementation of balance, right? And so, but if they do it this way, they're powering us up only on that applied weapon. So it's a way to help us feel stronger and get stronger without, and creep us into getting stronger and without being globally stronger. And so, you know what I mean? So it's sort of under more control and easier to manage. That makes sense? Because it's difficult to balance an entire game, especially them, which could possibly break the code, right? Because that's older code stuff. And so, I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there, but, you know, there's a good chance it's intended to be that strong, and that's the plan. It's not that different than St. Elmo's in reality. Because you could say, oh, well, this is stronger than St. Elmo's for this and that reason, DPS-wise. Yeah, but you got range differences, and that makes the St. Elmo's stronger. And you don't have to catch on status effect. You know what I mean? Which also makes St. Elmo's stronger. So pros and cons, they meet in the middle. You know what I mean? And so although it might appear to be stronger than St. Elmo's, and it is from a DPS perspective, as really an SMG should be, right? I mean, if you're going to get inside 15 meters, you better be better than an assault rifle. So logically, it's there, you know, so it might be intentional. Yeah, I don't know. And if it is, and if that's the direction, I'm on board. I am on board. You know what I mean? I think that's a good direction. I get it. you know? I mean, I can't see all the complications of doing that, all the pros and the cons, you know, it could be, you know, I'd have to think about it some more, but so, you know, I can't see all the way through it, but on the surface, it seems like a pretty decent idea. And a way to make us feel powerful, a way to handle stash space issues by giving us weapons that we prefer and allowing us to just not hoard everything. You know what I mean? And then especially if the weapon is so applicable to so many different builds. I mean, the reality is like St. Elmo's, you can run on just about anything, can't you? You can put it on Hunter's Fury, Striker. I mean, kind of Heartbreaker, kind of. I mean, just about anything. You got True Patriot for sure. Negotiators for sure. I mean, I don't really like it with Ongoing Directive, but you can. At least as a secondary weapon. Yeah, I don't know. But, you know, it's a generalized weapon, and this SMG is pretty much the same thing because of its talent and the way it's set up. You could run over Striker, Hunter's Fury, Ongoing Directive. Heartbreaker is the only one that's questionable because it requires that pulse, and the headshot pulse thing just kind of sucks. And then True Patriot, yep. Negotiators, yep. You know, so it works for anything. And so that's a great sign. That's a good sign for everybody. Because that means that the weapon itself is at... So our gear sets and stuff like that are relatively limited and pigeonholed into a certain particular aspect. But the weapons that they gave us this season and next season are pretty generalized. Even the new weapon talent one with the steady hands like handling buff, you can use that on any build as long as your build's got reasonable power, good enough power to sacrifice that talent for shots landed. So yeah, you know, I could thumbs up on that stuff. But all right, everybody, I'm gonna call it a night. It is now crossed over to the next day. It is Saturday, September 16th. So we will do another stream here in some hours and counting. Appreciate you all hanging down with me. And I think this is the favorite of the day, the M1928, and I'm loving it. I always have. It has been a while since I ran it. But I think for me, and I can't remember who recommended it, but props out to you. I think that, it was Streamadoc. Thanks, Stream. It was a good idea. And so, you know, I was definitely not thinking of it. And I think what Streamadoc caught on to is when I said, look at the range on this thing, because it's steady like a straight chain, a freight train, is what makes it kind of stand out besides just its power, right? And so, because a lot of our SMGs get the job done, right? That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, they're dead. Whether you do it with the slower, stronger one or a faster, weaker one, they both kind of have this really fast time to kill, right? But this one staggers consistently, and the range in which you can apply that damage, the damage drop off is right there for you. You know what I mean? But it's smooth. And I don't know if it's accurately represented there, but there it is. And so, you know, and so I think he caught on to that and be like, well, what about Outsider, and play into that. And that's absolutely the right way to think about creating your builds. When you see something that's working about your build or a weapon or a talent, lean into it a little bit more, and you'd be surprised on where it takes you and how that differentiates the build from anything else, you know, that you could possibly do. And that makes it very unique, you know. Especially, there's a lot of synergies going on here that are really nice. For one, the slower RPM and obliterate is nice because you're getting more out of it. You're maintaining obliterate. You're not getting there as faster, but you're maintaining it. And so I was noticing I was getting the peak side of obliterate. So where I was noticing that my uptime on obliterate was really nice. And then Striker's point and shoot, but there's no distance cap on it, and you're able to take on enemies with this thing a little farther out. And then with Outsider, you turn it into an assault rifle, so doubling that range, which is amazing. So yeah, really happy with this one. All right, everybody, have a good night. Appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow.